Welcome back, friends and fellow Wastelanders gaming for XP. And with Fallout 76 just around the corner, I thought I would do a few practice builds. I'm here at an undisclosed location with Dogmeat. And given that Fallout 76 essentially will be kind of a hybrid of either, Workbench, Anywhere or Conquest mod, I thought I would get myself out of the normal settlements and do a wee build just in preparation for maybe some settlement builds or player home builds that we're going to do in Fallout 76. So let's get into the build menu and we'll get started. So you can see it's a nice little location I've chosen right on the river here, right on the big lake, and we'll do a little kind of semi-player home on here. Had this idea in my head, so I had to build it, and that won't sink any further because you can see if you look close in the river there's actually a rock ledge there, and so it won't sink any further. So we'll put two of those out there like that, leading us, and the home will be sitting in the water on the lake. It's a beautiful day, so what I don't realise, it's actually quite late in the afternoon when I start building, and therefore I have to go and sleep fairly quickly after I start building. But anyway, we can get cracking and I will cut out all those transitions for you. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting a wall in. I'm going to put an upper level on this, so I just need something to snap that floor off. And yeah, it does give me a few dramas. I can snap it like that though. It's no drama. And you can see I had it, and there we go. Whew. Take the wall away, and now we've got an upper level. So realise it's kind of getting late here, and we will go, and I'm going to put a chair down and we'll come back in a sec. By the power of editing, here we are. We got a floating piece of wood in the air, and it's about to make sense in a while. This one, this build, I'm using essentially a couple of mods for this. Port Royal, the Ithron mods mostly, Cabin in the Woods, Port Royal mods, and that will happen a lot. I'm going to fall off a lot. I don't think you see most of it, but Cabin in the Woods, Port Royal are the two main mods I'm using. I've set up my Workbench Anywhere, which is by Andrew CX, using a cheat terminal. If you haven't seen how to do that, I did show you in a previous video, which was the bunker video, which I will leave a link to about now. And the very start of that video shows you exactly how I go through in a lot of detail and prepare Workbench. I keep calling it Workshop Anywhere, it's actually called Workbench Anywhere, for a build like this. Now, I had a kind of idea in my head, which is a kind of double staircase here, and you can see I've got, obviously, that they're too close because they're touching, so I have to push this out a little bit more, so I can have that space for the stairs to fit in. So probably going to need two of these. Again, custom build, you never know. Actually, one might be enough. Take that away, snap that to there like that, and then do the same on the other side. Snap that up there like that, take the original away, and then snap the stairs from Cabin in the Woods is where I got these stairs, and we'll snap that one to there, and there we go. Cool. That's our entranceway and our stairs up to the second level. Excellent. So you could essentially use you could use vanilla pieces for this. You could do a whole lot of stuff. It's up to you how you want to configure and what materials you'd like to use in this build. I use a kind of combination of wood and, as I said, a couple of mods essentially to do the building component of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the outside edge all the way around, and we'll probably speed this up until we get the floor in place. Nothing overly exciting about this. You'll see I actually make this a little bit bigger than I really want to, so I actually make it shorter. You can see it's quite a large area, and probably the way I've built it actually is bigger than I kind of really wanted to. But when you see the final build, it actually works out perfectly for what I want to add to the main cabin up the top. So there you go. Everything's floating, so don't worry about that too much because we'll fix that up. Now, the idea I have for underneath is a kind of boathouse plus workshop, and my idea for this build as well is that this would be essentially a player home, which I think, you know, essentially from what I've read so far about Fallout 76 is essentially what you're going to do. You're going to be building is a player home, or a lot of the time, at least that's the impression I get. A lot of time I'll be like your little settlement, your own personal settlement. I do believe there are. I've heard a few people talking about the fact that there will be the option for settlement building as we know it, and there will also be a private server, so we may be able to use mods at some point. Obviously, it's all up in the air at the moment. We will find out fairly shortly, and we will be bringing you Fallout 76 on the channel. Now, I get that the right way around, but for some reason it's far too close to the stairs. I don't want it there. I want it recessed a little bit, and for some reason it will not fit the right way around. And I spend a whole lot of time, and I'm going to cut it out, but spend a whole lot of time trying to get this to come the right way around. And when I look back on this, it wasn't an overly complicated build, but it was just one of those days that and we all know what they're like, those days that you get in Fallout, and sometimes it just, things just don't want to snap the way you want them to snap. And so I thought I'd put the walls in first and that would fix it. No, it didn't. So I end up giving up anyway. It's kind of weird how it clips into there, but never mind. And I thought, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll do the same on the other side, and it'll have nowhere to go. And a little trick that you can try to get things to work if you want to. On this occasion, nope, it didn't work either. So I just left the door as is. And essentially it needed, you can see it's still the wrong way around, and I'm still faffing with it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm over it by this point. So I've done this before. I've done a very similar build to this before in Sanctuary. So I'm essentially going to have to take out the that middle section so that we can get a little boat in. So I'm looking around and I start to find some interesting kind of decking here, some interesting floors that I decide to put in now. Again, as I said, it wasn't one of those good days and things wouldn't snap the way it is, and I had to pull a whole lot of stuff out and reconfigure. So I'm going to shoot forward now because you don't need to see it. Essentially, we're just replacing that material with something different, which is, yeah, it was painful. Anyway, we got there. It's, as I always say, persistence is the key. Now I forgot, that's right, we do use, and it's been a while since I've used the G2M mod. If you're looking for kind of flooring and any elements of piers and pier construction and that kind of boardwalks and stuff like that, G2M mod I would recommend. I do have a mod review on G2M, and I done the mod review on that particular mod, and I love this mod. And the week after he updated it, and all the menus changed. So, oh yeah, I'm swimming again. I do that a bit in this particular walkthrough, playthrough, build, whatever you want to call it. But like I said earlier, most of it you will not see. So again, we'll just replace. I'm going to replace all these floors in here, and you can see there's a little gap there where we can put a little boat in. And it becomes a nice little area down here for a workshop. If you saw my video regarding what makes an ideal player home, at least my point of view, I try and incorporate lots of elements of that in this build, and you'll see what I mean when we do the final tour at the end of this build. There we go. See, that flooring is good. I'm going to put the workbench in here, and I guess that just moves the settlement boundaries slightly. Although I've got to say, well, workbench anywhere he is or workshop anywhere. See, it does say workshop anywhere, workbench. You can see the size that they give you is very, very generous. So we'll put some of these pier posts in. There we go. Like that. They should just snap into place, and again it sells the overall look, even if they're not touching the bottom of the river, which they're not. Okay, that one's out of place there, so I need to fix that, but I'll do that in a second. All good in the hood. Now, one of the things I thought I could do here to just make this a little bit more believable was to put these barn pieces here on, but and the reason I'm doing that is that this is what I did the last time, but what I've realized now is that I was using slightly different pieces, so that's not going to work. So we're going to scrap that idea, and we'll just put a couple of walls in there. So here we go. We put a couple of these walls in, and we'll fall in the river for about the third time. I haven't only have fallen off a building this often for quite a while, but anyway, I kind of get sick of doing that, and I go, okay, while I'm out here, should I put some supports in? There's some supports here somewhere. There they are. That one's probably, that one there is, they are quite long, these, but what I find I have to do is do that and then push them into place. For some reason they won't snap in the right place straight away, but that's fine. And I do end up filling this deck in a little bit more anyway, and then a little bit more of a reconfig. So there you go. There, now we're supported a little bit better, and then I'll have a look and see, is there anything else I can put in there. And these posts here, these poles here, pure side supports are perfect for that, just to make it look as though it's a little bit more supported, and you can see that works really nicely. And of course I'm doing it without being able to see what I'm doing, so we'll just put that in there like that, and there we go. And that all starts to work and looks right and proper and supported and all that good stuff. So I have put a railing all the way around that top level. Those railings come from Vanilla Extensions, another Aetheron mod in the barn tab. And we're going to put the cabin in the woods, we're going to use as the walls for this. Now, what I didn't realise is that something weird happened with the configuration of this, and it means that, because I want the door to be central and kind of line up with the door down below. So we drop all this in like this. Now sometimes with cabin woods can be a bit finicky with build order, so you sometimes have to do this kind of stuff, so spin it round, take a wall out, or the rest of it. So I do that, I start to get all this working perfectly. Now do be aware that there are different wall sizes, colours in for cabin noise, and then I go, hang on a second, how's that working? I've got some additional space at this end and not at that end. So I'll show you how I solve it. I'm going to move forward because I spend a lot of time running back and forward scratching my head at this point. So essentially you'll see when you look back what the problem is. Look where the door is, it doesn't align to that bottom door, and I've pulled up all kinds of stuff. I pulled the deck up, I was reconfiguring it, that didn't work, and I suddenly come across the solution here. And Cabin in the Woods has these half walls which end up being the saviour of the day, if you like, and you'll see in a second what I'm talking about. So I'm kind of looking at this and going, how the heck am I going to solve this? And I've sort of got the door in the right place now, and I realise we've got these here. And so what you have to do is put a half wall on each end, and that will centre the door up, if that makes sense. I don't get it quite right at the start, but I need to pull that wall on the left hand side across a slight bit, and you can see I'm looking at this going, yeah, that's not snapping properly. Okay, so this is not in the right place. Push that across, push everything across like this, and voila, it all works. And of course we get back into this build order strange snapping issue again, so I have to pull a wall out. And anyway, yep, I'll faff around with it for a wee bit, and then I'll go, yeah, that's right, I had to do this, didn't I? There you go, and you see it'll snap straight away, and then that'll snap, and that door should now be central. What I then realise is that I'm using the wrong configuration of colour of wood, so I change all that out as well. So that one was right in actual fact. Yeah, you can see I'm looking at it saying, yeah, that's the right colour there. That's not. So I went with the first one in the order. Yep, that doesn't match either. It's that one. There we go. So when you come to a different size, it's essentially the first one in every row, if that makes sense. So if we scroll along to the full walls and we come to the first one, it will be that one, and so on and so forth. We'll do the same on the other side, and you know, we just of course this isn't going to go in where I want it to, so we'll put that one in first. Then anyway, like I said, it was just one of those days. There you go, we spin it around and it works perfectly. Now, I want to put a fireplace in here, and there are some walls that Cabin in the Woods gives us to be able to do that. And you have to basically do the same trick as we've done with the front door. So I kind of sort of go, okay, I want a fireplace. I'm sure there it is there. It's the one I want. So to get that in, how are we going to get that to work? We want it there in actual fact. So get rid of that wall there. I'll repeat, we'll get rid of that wall there, and we put these half walls in, and that'll again sure it all up and make sure it is where you want it to be. Now it's the wrong way round, so we just got to spin that round like that, so the fireplace is facing in and not facing the river. There we go, we have our cabin all ready to go. We'll run down, see if all the doors line up and all that good stuff, which they do, and that's pretty good as far as I'm concerned. So the only thing to do now is I want to put one room in here and put a roof on, and you would think that would be no problem at all. Only the problem is this door, Duvalaki, doesn't want to snap anywhere, so it takes me a while to get this sorted out, but we do get it sorted out. And but it just, like I said, it takes time, and this is one of the things that I seem to struggle a little bit when I'm building is interior configuration. See, that will snap fantastically there. Be the smallest room in history, but anyway, I wanted to snap there. So I think I actually moved this door. I put it on the side here because that just, you know, I tried place anyway. That's really not working for me. And I think in the end these half walls come to my rescue one more time. So essentially I'm going to put the door there like that, maybe eventually. So put that there for now, and I'm running back and forth going, how the heck am I going to do this? And then I go, I don't know what it is with some of the smaller pieces in this game, but sometimes if you use smaller pieces it tends to work a little bit better. So I'm going like, okay, let's see if this, hang on, that snapped there, that'll work. Push that across, that'll snap to that, and now we're cooking with gas. There we go, all good. And Cabin in the Woods can just be a little bit finicky at times with the walls and whatnot, so just be aware of that. Even try these other walls, they don't work. End up having to snap a wall on the outside and then snap it from there. So for some reason it doesn't want to turn the corner. But you'll see I've left this in because I think it's important for you to see not just what Cabin in the Woods, but different mods that you're going to use or different building pieces. See, I've been able to snap a wall out there, and then suddenly I changed the angle, and boom, we're fixed. There we go. And then we just delete that one, and we are good. There we go, we've got a little bedroom. So after a little bit more tweaking, here's what we come up with. Lovely little home right on the river. We'll run back so you get the wider view of it. And I ended up using the warehouse roof for this. And that snapped on no problem. Those triangular pieces just snapped onto the side, and I was able to put the roof on without any drama whatsoever. So let me give you a look around this little build. I really did enjoy this, and it was something that I had in my head that I wanted to do, and it came out pretty much as I expected it to. So you can see he does a lot of his kind of gutting and storing and drying and all whatnot. There's a lovely little view out onto the lake. Now if you look in front of me there's Concord, and we're actually pretty close to Sanctuary here. Let's have a look, and that goes the same way this way. So yep, that Snubnose 44 is essentially directly opposite us, that little generator, if you know what I'm talking about. So what I've done is I've built a workshop down here. We have the workbench there, we have our armor workbench here, some place to store all your armor, some place to store all bits and pieces there, and then we have the weapons workbench on the other side, and a tool chest to store all my legendary weapons, chem bench here as well, and a little box to store anything you need to there. So, and there's a generator underneath, put a boat in underneath here too. So everything's in one place. You can come back from questing, dump all the stuff you need to, and you're good to go. So let's go upstairs, and I'm going to basically run you around the whole building. It's nothing fantastic. You can see there's a fairly good view. If you know where the Snubnose 44 is, you'll know where we are. That's the kind of Red Rocket Concord water tower over there. Sanctuary is back kind of over there, and let's go in and see this little accommodation we've built for ourselves. So there's a nice little breakfast table. I've obviously got a little office area and somewhere to store all my magazines that I collect throughout the Commonwealth. You might need a few of those stands in here though, although there's a bit of room here, we could put them in. Nice little sitting room next to the fire. It feels so cozy. Little kitchen, a preparation area, nice view onto the lake. And then we have a bedroom or bobblehead stand, nice and cozy in case you get company, but fairly basic as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this build. It was just something I had in my head that I had to do, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration for building in Fallout 76. Thanks for supporting me, thanks for watching the channel, and we'll see you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya.